and welcome to another fascinating edition of the program CAC Weekly. CAC Weekly is a program that keeps you abreast on the activities and the achievement of the Corporate Affairs Commission. I am Amina Jibril. Now, coming up on the program, as CAC sets to unveil new types of companies, company law expert brings us up to speed on the new concept. Also, CAC cautions the public on the activities of fraudsters. Plus, the Registrar General and CEO of the Corporate Affairs Commission pledges full implementation of 2021 Management Retreat resolutions. But we'll be right back after this break. Please stay with us.
Anybody that owns at least 5% of the shares or controls 5% of the voting rights or has some form of influence or control over the way and manner the company is being managed, or anybody that can appoint majority of the directors. If you fall into any of this category, you must disclose your status. Either you're a shareholder or a director, or even if you're an outsider. This is very broad. The UK, the threshold is 25%. For us, because of concern of the extractive sector, we settle for a lower threshold of 5%. So this information is becoming interesting, not just to us locally in Nigeria, but globally. A network or a leadership group being spearheaded by the UK that is promoting sharing of information amongst registries, beneficial ownership information to support anti-corruption and fight crime. So very soon, our own register of PSC will be linked to the global register. And part of the requirement is every other information the CAC issues comes with a cost. But information on PSC is provided gratis. So even as of today, if you check our website, go to public search, you can view the persons with significant control without paying a dime. That information is published at no cost. This is provided in our regulation because it's consistent with our commitment under the Open Government Partnership. The Nigerians' commitment, it's the Nigerian government that gave this commitment, not CAC, as well as the Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative. Then another key issue has to do with sectoral classification of companies. We are enforcing this strictly now under the new portal. You won't be able to proceed to register anything if you don't select the sector. And as approving officers, we have a responsibility to also check to ensure that the sector selected actually matches the key objectives of that company. We don't just allow it because the customer picks it. We have to check the first object and to make sure it aligns with the sectoral selection.
Welcome back. We begin today with a word of caution from the Commission to the public. Now, the monumental growth of the internet in Nigeria gave rise to the upsurge in the activities of online fraudsters. Many gullible Nigerians have lost huge sums of money to the activities of some of these fraudsters that are either based in Nigeria or outside its shores. ResearchGate says in Nigeria today, several internet-assisted crimes known as cybercrimes are committed daily in various forms such as fraudulent electronic mails, identity theft, hacking, cyber harassment, spamming, automated telemachine spoofing, piracy, and phishing, amongst others. Typical of these scams is the one that was brought to the notice of the Commission, which it deemed fit to advise the public to stay away from them. The general public should please disregard the message shown on the screen purporting to be from the Corporate Affairs Commission. Please note that the Commission does not request for payment to update the status of any registered entity, and transactions with the Commission are done strictly via the official website addresses as follows: www.cac.gov.ng, pre.cac.gov.ng, post.cac.gov.ng. Signed, Management. We do hope you will shine your eyes very well. And now moving on. The Registrar General and CEO of the Corporate Affairs Commission, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, has pledged to fully implement the resolutions reached at the just concluded 2021 Management Retreat in Kaduna. The Registrar General, who was receiving the chairman of the Retreat Committee, Duke Ukaga, the Director of Public Affairs, and members, noted with delight that the retreat was hugely successful and added that far-reaching decisions were arrived at during the two-day event. He therefore maintained that the Commission would soon start implementing the resolutions, particularly those that hinged on the improvement of service delivery, cutting cost, and revenue enhancement, amongst others. Alhaji Garba Abubakar described as excellent the job of the 2021 Management Retreat Committee and urged members to continue to offer selfless service to the Commission at all times. He reiterated his commitment to continue to pursue continuous improvement of the Commission's operations in a bid to complement the ease of doing business efforts of the present administration in the country. Speaking earlier, the chairman of the committee, Duke Ukaga, applauded the Registrar General for the tremendous support, guidance and cooperation the 2021 Management Retreat Committee received from him. He pledged their readiness to continue to offer selfless service to the Commission and the nation in general. Now, CAC Weekly reports that the members of the committee include Hajara Shehu, who is the Assistant Director, Board Secretariat, Adeleke Joseph Kunle, also an Assistant Director, Human Resource, Rashid Mahir, Principal Manager, Public Affairs, Olumide Ologe, a Principal Manager, Compliance and Committee Secretary, and Dorothy Akpan, a Principal Manager, Finance and Accounts. We say kudos to the committee as we now shift gears to talk about the CAMA 2020, which is undoubtedly embedded with so many initiatives that are aimed at changing the business environment. Some of the new forms of business registrations introduced by the CAMA 2020 is the Limited Liability Partnership, LLP. CAC Weekly caught up with Mr. Tolulokpe Adeola Shonaike, the Assistant Director Registry, who x-rays the new concept for us. Do enjoy watching this interview.
Many thanks for joining us on the program, sir.
Thank you, Madam.
All right. The Limited Liability Partnership is one of the registration that CAMA 2020, brought about. Now, before we go into the privileges and some of the objectives that I tend to achieve, help us understand what's this Limited Liability Partnership. Because people say, we already have a limited liability company now. So which one is limited liability, partnership?
Okay. The Limited Liability Partnership, indeed, is one of the new business forms that the CAMA 2020, Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 introduced. And in many respects, it's actually similar to the limited liability companies, but it has its own distinctions too. Summarily, you say that the Limited Liability Partnership, it's a business arrangement, right, which enjoys legal personality. And by legal personality, I mean that it is a partnership, all right? But it is one partnership that enjoys legal entity. It's a legal entity. It's a body corporate. And by virtue of that, it is distinct and separate from its members. That is the partners that form it. And because of its legal personality, it would enjoy some of the privileges that are ordinarily available to limited liability companies and even more. Now, the first thing you understand is that as a body corporate, a legal personality, distinct from its promoters, it has perpetual succession. Okay. That means it doesn't matter whether the promoters die or leave, it is a person on its own, albeit an artificial person. It will always live until it is killed, by being dissolved or dead. Okay. And then it may, because it's a person in law, it can sue and be sued in its own name. So you don't need to tie it to any other identity before you can bring a suit in that name. No, it can sue and be sued. And it can also acquire, it can own, it can hold, it can dispose of, it can sell, properties, like any other person, because it is a person. Then if it chooses to, it can have a common seal. Don't forget that under this new law, the requirement for common seal for companies, even for incorporated trustees, is optional. But if it chooses to, can have a common seal. Generally, you can just do and suffer whatever any person can do and suffer under the law.
Okay. All right. So what will be the clear difference between a limited liability company and a limited liability partnership? Why would somebody opt for a limited liability partnership instead of going for his company limited by shares?
In many instances, it will be a choice.
Okay.
But perhaps when we look at why we're introducing it at this time, it may also help clarify that over many jurisdictions at this time, the limited liability partnership option is becoming more attractive, more desirable as a business arrangement, And the main attraction is the fact that it is, while it enjoys the privileges that of legal personality that we described before, and by that reason, limitation of liability. These are privileges that ordinarily were attached to body corporates, particularly companies, right? It still enjoys what you may describe as the flexibility, administrative and organizational flexibility that ordinarily are available for partnerships. Because partnerships are, their regime of regulation, burden of obligations and all of that are actually less. For instance, while it is a body corporate, I'm not looking at some of the distinctions between it and the company. Now, there is no requirement for memorandum and articles. Now, you understand that memorandum and articles, they're actually like deeds, right? They are deemed to be deeds. And between the members of a company and themselves, that's between one member and the other, it defines the rights, it defines the duties and obligations. It's an agreement under a deed. And then it also defines the relationship between the members and the company.
Okay.
Right? Now, instead of memorandum and articles of association, for a partnership, a limited liability partnership, what you have are agreements.
Okay.
So it is these agreements that define the duties and the obligations, the responsibilities of one partner to the other, of a partner to the firm, and of the firm, that's a limited partnership, to the partners, and the officers. So because it does not have need to have it does not have a requirement for memorandum and articles of association. You also find that it does not have to pay stamp duties. Because stamp duties only will apply when you have memorandum and articles. Again, because it is a deed. And then you are creating shares that you have to pay stamp duties on. So for limited liability partnerships, you don't need that. Right? So you find that it's a less cumbersome process. Right? And then even with the issues of tax, right? Even though it enjoys legal personality, it is actually taxed as a partnership.
Okay.
Right. Don't forget that incomes from partnerships, go to partners. So it is seen, those incomes are what you tax, So it is taxed as partners who pay taxes on their earnings, So you find that even as in the form of taxation, in the area of taxation, it is deemed a partnership. Then I said it earlier, the relationship between partners, and themselves, partner with partner or partner with the firm, the partnership itself, is regulated by the agreements.
Okay, so there's nothing like mutual understanding here.
No. Everything has to be stated. Where any area where you don't have a clear provision in the your agreement, there is a default agreement.
Okay.
If a kind that is annexed to the law as Schedule 15. So in any area where you have gaps, and the terms and obligations are not clearly stated, you resort to that default agreement.
Okay. And what does this new registration seek to achieve?
Well, you find that more interest is on this kind of arrangements, right? So what the law seeks to achieve is that it seeks to broaden, the play field, and the kind of structures, vehicles you can have, arrangements you can have to run your business. Now, before CAMA 2020, it so happened that a number of states had taken keen interest in this area, and they had even gone ahead to start registering some of them,
Okay.
Lagos in particular. But you'll find that by doing that, we viewed it at this end as a violation of the Constitution, which says matters relating to companies, formation of companies, and body corporates are exclusive matters to the federal, right? So, and we were concerned, and we initiated some kind of intervention from the federal government, and we're happy that the Lagos state government, and I think Ogun State started doing it bits there too. They agreed to suspend all of that. So it became clear to us that this was a form of business arrangement that people desired.
Okay. So what are its main features?
Okay. The main features of the limited liability partnership is that one, anyway, that is clear from the name. You must have at least two.
Minimum of 2 partners, yeah.
But the at all times, always, you must always have a minimum.
So if one partner dies, he has to be replaced?
Yes.
Immediately?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, if for some reasons you continue to carry on business, for more than 6 months with one partner, now the risk is that that partner will be liable for all the obligations of the partnership, for the days such default continues until he remedies it. Now, an LLP, while yes, we agree that you must have, because the partnership, at least 2 partners, you must also have at least 2 what you call designated partners. Now, designated partners are to limited liability partnerships what directors are to companies. Now, the designated partners are the ones that have the responsibility for the day-to-day running of the partnership. And the law, in fact, imposes the duty to ensure that every return, every filing, every compliance with the requirements of the law, right, is observed. So they are responsible for all those filings, they are responsible for compliance, statutory compliance, and all of that. And for any infraction that is noticed, they are the ones that will be liable in penalties.
Okay.
Right. So another thing is that while a body corporate can be a partner in a limited liability partner, I mean, just like body corporates can be members of companies, right? But body corporates cannot be designated partners. Designated partners must be individuals.
Okay.
That is a natural person. So if any body corporate is interested in how the place is run and he wants to be involved, he can only do that through a nominee. In other words, he has to nominate a natural person.
Okay. When you say a natural person, what is it?
Person with blood and flesh.
Oh,
and
okay.
hair.
Okay.
So
okay, not the Robert.
Because, we have 2 forms of persons now.
Okay.
You have what you call the natural person and the artificial person.
Okay.
Companies, statutory corporations fall under artificial persons. But they are recognized as persons distinct and separate from you and I who run them.
Oh, okay.
You understand? So if you come back to the concept of the company that people really understand, you now understand why you say governing body, governing body and all of that, and organs of a company. The company itself is a person. So if you transact with, let's say, CAC, which is a corporation, now let's even say it's a company, and for some reasons, you have an agreement for us to supply you something, and we breach that agreement and you suffer some damages, you cannot be suing I as a director personally.
Yeah, you sue CAC.
Yes, and then the CAC itself would, from its own income, money, compensate you. So that is how it is a separate person. But then I am here as a natural person. So in this case too, you can have a body corporate as a partner, but to be a designated partner, you must be somebody, with blood running through you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So now to another feature is that where you refuse or fail to appoint designated partners, don't forget that we said you must have at least 2.
Oh, yes.
Where you don't have 2, maybe it falls, the designated partners fall less than 2 in number, right? Don't forget that the composition of a limited liability partnership is not mainly the designated partners. There will be other partners.
Okay.
Right? But you must have at least 2 designated partners. Now, so if the number of designated partners now fall
Designated
below 2,
and natural.
you have the designated,
Okay.
right? Who must be natural persons.
Yes,
The others can be natural persons and corporate bodies, no
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
Right? So now with the designated partners, right? Anytime you have the number fall below 2, you are supposed to remedy that, right? Within 30 days.
Okay.
Okay. Now, where you don't remedy it, or where you don't even have, because your documents, when you are registering, should designate people that are your designated partners. And then when the numbers fall below that, or they resign for some reasons, they are no longer there, you must immediately bring others to be designated partners. Now, you must do that, within 60 days.
Okay.
Now, if you carry on business without fulfilling that requirement for more than 60 days, right? That is when whoever knows that thing has fallen below that number becomes personally liable for all the obligations of the firm.
Okay.
Now, beyond that, where you do not mention who your designated partners are, what the law will do is to assume that all of you are designated partners.
Okay.
In other words, all of you are now responsible for running the place. All of you are responsible for any penalty that may accrue.
Okay.
So that is why you must always identify and inform the commission that these persons are your designated partners,
Okay.
and they must not be less than 2 at any particular time.
Okay.
Then another thing of interest would be the liabilities of members. Don't forget that we said this is a limited liability partnership,
Yeah.
meaning that their liabilities, their exposures to risk are limited. Now, to what limit are these liabilities? Their liabilities are limited to the extent of the amount they have agreed to contribute. This contribution can be in cash, it can be in tangible or intangible matter, it can be by way of service. Okay, I'm bringing my technical experience and expertise. But whatever you contribute must be reduced to monetary terms, values.
Okay.
So if you are bringing your expertise, we must quantify that your expertise in terms of money. If you are bringing a house, if you are bringing furniture, we must reduce it to monetary terms. So now, whatever we have agreed to contribute, and it does not have to be equal. We may agree that you are bringing this amount, I'm bringing this amount, you are bringing this value in non-cash, It is only to that extent that the partners are exposed, liable.
Okay.
Now, if they have made good the whole of that amount, then there's no problem.
Okay.
But when the partnership is being wound up, there are still some amounts are standing against you, for instance, or against me, then I must make good that amount.
Okay.
I must make good that. But beyond that amount, the full amount, my liabilities no longer exist.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So
Then,
I know because of time we will not be able to take all of
yes.
that. But what does it cost to register a limited liability, partnership? Yes.
Okay, the
That's
cost
one.
for a limited liability
And is it
partnership-
on now? Because
It's
I
not
know
on,
work
but-
is being
Yes,
done behind the
but
scene.
very soon.
Okay.
Because we're at the last stage, the architecture has been built, and we have been seeing it, we're interrogating it now. Very soon, certainly before the end of the year,
Okay.
it will come on stream, right? And when it comes on stream, the fees are already, interestingly, scheduled,
Okay.
to the regulations,
Okay.
right? The cost for registering a limited liability partnership is 20,000 naira.
Oh, okay.
It's 20,000 naira. For the other one, the limited partnership, it's 15,000 naira. But
Okay.
here we are talking about limited liability partnerships. It will be
Okay.
20,000 naira when it comes on stream.
Okay. I'm sure that's the area people are more interested
Yes,
in.
yes.
Is it going to be any cheaper?
Yes, actually, it's cheaper than
Yeah.
the limited liability companies.
Okay.
Than the companies generally.
Okay.
Don't forget that with companies, you still have to pay stamp duties, except for the one that is limited by guarantee. But you still have to go and stamp the memorandum articles because it is a deed.
Okay.
But in this case, you don't
with
have
your
to do all of
20,000 from beginning to the end, it's over.
that. It's over.
Does it also require annual returns?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
You must file returns
Okay.
for the limited partnerships.
Okay.
Yes, you must file returns.
Okay.
And the returns will be filed within 60 days again from the date to which, at the end of the financial year, of that limited liability partnership.
And it's the same 5,000 naira?
For the annual returns,
Yes.
yes, it's the same 5,000 naira.
Okay. Okay. I do know that when it's finally, ready, we'll be able to interrogate it better.
Yes.
When it comes to registration.
Yes.
But for now, we just have to leave it here.
Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Tolu Okwesionaike, Assistant Director, Registry Department. Thank you very much indeed for your time, as always.
My pleasure.
And on that note, we draw the curtain on this week's edition of the program CAC Weekly. We do hope you enjoyed watching. Remember, for comments and inquiries, you can take advantage of our social media handles and our helplines. On Instagram and Facebook, it is Corporate Affairs Commission. You could reach us via our email on cservice@cac.gov.ng. Our website is at www.cac.gov.ng. And our helplines are on the numbers 081-822-99016 or 081-822-98971, 090-874-01598 or 090-874-01599 and 090-874-01600. Join us next week for another interesting edition of the program CAC Weekly. Same time and same station. From me, Amina Jabril, and the whole team here, it is bye for now.